welcome back to my channel. If you happen to be new here, my name is Jess. As you guys can tell from the title of this video is going to be all the books that I surprisingly read that I really loved. Either I didn't know a whole lot about them going into it, or I had heard bad things about it and I didn't know whether or not I was going to like it. But these are the books that most shocked me that I have read recently. Well, not even recently, within the last 2 years, and I really wanted to talk about them because I feel like a lot of them don't get enough love. Some of them are so heavily hated by other people that I need to kind of give my piece on why I enjoyed them so much. I haven't seen a whole lot of videos going around like this, but that doesn't mean that they don't exist. If you know any videos like this that you have seen, please link them down below so that I can watch them. I find this very interesting, honestly. I love learning about books that people didn't think they were gonna like that they ended up loving. I think that that's really cool for some reason, but yeah, so I have probably about 5 or 6 books that I want to talk about, and I'm just really excited to talk about them, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the first book I have here, I've actually read the first and second one, and the third one I believe comes out soon, but I really loved them. I own the first one in paperback, and I loved it so much that I actually picked up the second one on my Kindle because I didn't know where I could find it in paperback, and I'm really excited to read the third one. So excited. And that would be The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. I absolutely love this. This follows Vasilia as our main character, and she's this kind of misunderstood little girl, and she lives in kind of a different sort of Russia where there are magical beings. They kind of guard their homes, they guard like their fireplaces, things like that, and I really like the Russian folklore aspect of this. When I first read it, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. It does revolve around death and war as gods themselves, and they are really heavily involved in the story. And I just overall really liked this. I liked the cozy winter feels of it, and like I said, I didn't know that I was going to love it as much as I did, but I have to say, when I read this, this was top of the list of my favorite books that I had ever read before. I'm really enjoying the series. I liked the second one even more, which is called The Girl in the Tower. But overall, I really like this series so far. I think that it is so much more than people say it is. I never really hear it talked about, and I don't know why, because I feel like this kind of book would actually be up a lot of people's alleys. So if you're interested at all in reading this, I would definitely recommend it. And the next book I have here, I have talked about before on my channel. I actually did this as a buddy read with Crescent Moon Reads here on YouTube, and that would be Wicked Like a Wildfire by Lena Popovic. I absolutely inhaled this book. I really loved it. It's about 2 sisters who kind of have different sort of magics. Their whole family kind of has different sort of magics. One can see fractals in like everything, and the other one can kind of interpret moods as music, and she can like hum different things and kind of help you to sort of feel and express what you are feeling that you're having trouble expressing. And I just really like this. I like the whole setting of it. It takes place in Montenegro. I think that it was really cool. I like the overall storyline as well. Their mother actually is hurt, and they're kind of trying to figure out how to save her, and I really like the storyline of this book. It definitely took my breath away. I think that the setting coupled with the different types of magic that are in this book is really why I loved it so much. But this was a top read of 2017 for me. I really loved it. If you've been wondering whether or not you should read it, you should. I know people got this in, I think, Owlcrate or Fairy Loot, I can't remember, but I'm really thankful that I got it. I'm really thankful that I ended up enjoying it. I don't often enjoy the books that I get in subscription services for some reason, but this one was definitely a winner for me, and I kind of want to reread it because I like the setting so much, and I cannot wait for the second one. Now this next book I have here was actually sent to me. It was a gift from a friend for Christmas, and that would be Starfish by Kimi Dawn Bowman. I loved this book. This follows our main character Kiko, and she's sort of an art student, and she decides that she's going to go to California with a friend to kind of decide what she wants to do with her life after she is unable to get into the art school that she's applying for. I really liked this book because I related to it on so many levels, not necessarily the art aspect of her life, but there is difficulty that she has with her mom. Her mom is a little abusive, I would say, definitely very mentally abusive, but also very verbally abusive. I really like the story of this because she sort of finds herself throughout the story, and I really enjoyed it. Also, trigger warning, there is some child molestation that happens in this book, and it was sort of hard to read. There's also a trigger warning for suicide on this with a minor character. I just absolutely loved it either way. I thought it was such a good book, and I love the setting of it. Half of it takes place in the town that she lives in, and then half of it takes place in California, but I just loved it. I thought that it painted a very beautiful picture. It was really easy to visualize what was happening within this book. I think Bowman did a really good job of bringing the story to life visually for the reader, and it really took my breath away, and it was definitely I believe I gave it 5 stars. That's how much I absolutely loved it. Now this next book I want to talk about surprised me because I haven't read anything by this author in a really long time that I have enjoyed. You guys have heard me speak about this book before on my channel, and if you want a full review, that is also available, but that would be Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. You guys have seen me speak about this before. I am not the biggest fan of John Green, well, his writing style at least. I do really like him as a person though. I think that he's just such a down-to-earth person, But I think the reason why this book shocked me so much is, one, I did not know it was Own Voices. I did not know John Green had OCD. If you're not familiar, I also suffer from OCD, and from a very specific form that he also suffers from. And so I really enjoyed this book. I really, really appreciated it. And I honestly wasn't interested in reading it at all. And then a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine who also has OCD, read it and said that it was so important for her. And so I picked it up and I absolutely loved it. And I'm not going to go too in depth on this, but this is one of the books that people either love or hate. And I'm definitely in the category that absolutely loves this book. So if you have OCD and you're looking for Own Voices, or if you have a friend that may have OCD and you want a little bit more resource information, just kind of to feel kind of what they're feeling or see kind of what life is like for them, I think this is a great resource for that. Obviously, he's not a medical professional or anything like that, but I think it gives you a little bit more insight into what it's like living with OCD. And the next book that I have here, I'm really excited to talk about it. I think I did a review on this on my channel, maybe not, I'm not 100% sure, but I really, really like this book, and I didn't know that I was going to like it so much when I picked it up. I actually really like this author. I know a lot of people find his writing very bogged down, but for me, I found it pretty effortless to read it, and this is a book that they made into a movie, so you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about, but it is Ready Player One. You guys have heard me speak about this before on my channel. I really loved this book. It follows our main character, Wade. He lives sort of in a kind of apocalyptic state of the United States now, and they sort of live within something called the Oasis, and it's sort of like a good guy, bad guy struggle with a lot of 80s reference, a lot of video game references, movies, things like that. And I overall really, really liked this book. I think that it was really effortless to read. I liked the twists and turns in it. I liked like the character development. I just thought it was a lot of fun. It was definitely a very fun read for me, and I loved all of the references. That was definitely my favorite part of it. The only thing I will say is I did recently see the movie. If you've been wondering about whether or not you should see the movie, I think if you're one of those people that can separate book from movie, I think you'll really like it. The book and the movie are very, very different. I think the first like 15 minutes of the movie pretty closely follows this, and then after that it's completely different. But I still really enjoyed it. As somebody who is able to separate, I really liked it. So if you've been wondering whether or not you should see the movie, and you are one of those people that can kind of turn a blind eye to the fact that it doesn't match the book, I think that you'd really like the movie. But I like the book better because I feel like it was so fresh and new for me, and I just really loved all the characters. And yeah, so Ready Player One, I really, really enjoyed this book, and I did not know that I was going to love it half as much as I ended up loving it. Now the next book I have here I've also spoken about before on my channel, but I don't think people realize how much I absolutely loved it, and it would be Want by Cindy Pon. I don't know if you guys can see the cover. It's a little bit weird because it's like glossy, but I loved this book. I actually picked this up because I saw a picture of it and I thought it was a comic book. It's obviously not a comic book. This is a full-length novel, but I loved this book. Essentially, this follows our main character Jason as he goes up against Jin Corporation, which is a corporation that kind of controls a lot of their world. They live in a very smog-filled city, in a very smog-filled world, essentially, and people live within these suits, and it's like there's definitely like a bracket of poor people, rich people, and they don't have access to the things that the rich people have, obviously. And what happens in this book, they decide, him and a group of his friends, to actually take down Jin Corporation. So the first thing that Jason does is actually kidnap the daughter of the man who runs the company. Obviously, a lot more happens in this book. I really loved it. I cannot wait for the second one. I thought it was just such a good book. I love the storyline. I love the diversity in this. The main cast is obviously all Asian. I really, really liked that. I did not find it hard to connect with. I did not find it hard to read, which really solidified in my mind that representation needs to be there. There needs to be more diversity, because as a obviously Caucasian woman, I did not have trouble reading this, and I really, really loved it. I loved the setting. I loved the characters. I connected with a lot of them, and I thought it was just a really fun, fast-paced read for me, and I can't wait for Cindy to release the second one. Now, I'm not going to go too in-depth on this series because I talk about it all the time on my channel, but it'd be Nixia by Scott. I absolutely love this series so, so much. I did just recently read the second one as well. I got an arc from NetGalley, and I'm falling more and more in love with this series. If you guys are not familiar, it's about a group of kids who are hired by this company called Babel, and they go to this ship, and they have to kind of battle it out to be able to secure a place to go to this planet called Eden, to mine Nixia, which is what Babel and the rest of the country essentially runs on. And I think that the reason why I like this so much is I read Ender's Game around the same time, and I feel like this is what I wanted Ender's Game to be like. It sort of mimics that in a way, like the children on a spaceship kind of battling for a place in this, you know, this world that they have. Now the kids are obviously a little less smart. Some of them are very, very smart, but I feel like there's more character development in these kinds of books, and I feel like there is more, I don't know, in this I just felt it was easier to read and more fun to read as well. I just really, really like this series. Like I said, you guys have heard me speak about it before on my channel, but I just had to mention it. I was not expecting to love this as much as I did. I was actually sent this book here, the physical copy, for review and from blogging for books, and I absolutely loved it. So this was definitely a surprise read for me, and it was almost my 2017 favorite pick of the year, but it didn't win, but I still absolutely loved it. And if you guys are at all interested in like sci-fi, like YA sci-fi kind of stuff, I think that you guys would really, really like this. I will say the second one is a little bit better, a little bit more messed up, but I still really, really like this one. Alright guys, so that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sorry if the setting's a little bit different. I'm working with really bad lighting at the moment. Lighting, for some reason, I don't know if it's because of the side of the house that my office is on or what, but it's snowing out today and it's just been really crap weather, so if the lighting's off, once again, I'm really sorry. Eventually I will get it figured out, but yeah. Either way, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing, but I will see you guys again in Wednesday's video. Bye!